Is a very good case to see how to combine everything and how to use so that it doesn't have more conflict, but actually more precision and more value to your trading. And the the most timely things I think will always be the bands with this, with the oscillators. But there's ways to, because you will most probably always be able to enter before everything turns green, because of course, I mean, things needs to happen. Um, like any system, they're not meant to buy the bottom tick. So if you want to, there's always a time where you can be more aggressive, and that time was here, and it was also totally in line with the 1 hour. So you had the 4 hour band, everything was there to take a low risk entry from not too far from the bottom. But beyond that, if you really want to be consistent and make sure, because everything is still negative, that's the 4 hour. First of all, if you look at your daily, you know that you're still in buy the dip mode. I mean, it's getting dicey because this is the re-signal of a red dot appearing. We lost the green dots here. So it's the third bar without green dot. And the next stage, further sell-off, the red dot's going to appear. And then after that, the dot is always going to be the fastest to flip. And then it is going to be either the flip line or most probably the bars. Going to trade at least yellow. Yellow is not bad. Yellow is neutral. It's contraction, correction. And so let's go back to the 4 hour and continue our journey into this. So we didn't buy, I didn't buy, you didn't buy this. That's fine. Okay. So now, because it's so still quite negative, you don't chase those. So you really then have to go back to the 1 hour and say, okay, I'm gonna check this, and if it's decent, then I can take another risk here, because we're cycling. The 5 and 15 are already cycling. The next challenge, the 30, but the 60 is there, so it remains on the risky side, but it is evolving nicely. So I started the video. The red dot was at, see, it was at 25. Now it's 19. So we're close. I mean, if the market keeps moving up, we're going to lose the red dot. That's the first step. But to reverse the trend completely, we need to move back up above that symbol. You don't want to wait for that. So this is where the bands always become your primary tool, but it put an extremely important context to your maneuvering with the bands. Where is it time to press hard or be more patient? Um, where was I going? Because the best time to buy, and that's where you might go to a 1 hour and see if there's some blue. So we're now starting. So let's see, here we have the up triangle. Um, if we keep rising, the green dot's going to appear. So there's a sense of a beginning of stability when you start seeing blues, and maybe it depends on where it is. Usually when it drops, it at the lows it's blues, and at the top it's yellow. There's exception, uncontrollable, but it doesn't matter because it's a sign of contraction, and that's what we want. It's the trends are slowing down in the prior direction, from the prior direction. And on the 1 hour, see how close that trend level, that negative trend level is. So it wouldn't take much to really, I mean, we're very close to flip the 1 hour. But that's why if you keep working with the bands and the oscillator, it's nice to be able to enter off that, because there was, like I said, there was a relatively clean. Let me just click here. It's going to be easier. So it is here. Yes. Okay. So from that retest here, you can see there was a clean shot of all 8 time frame flipped here. So if you want to, depending on how aggressive, you can buy the inside bar somewhere here, or after the pivot here, the trend line. Anything here is valid. It just depends on how aggressive you want to be. So that's still the best way of doing it. But that brings a lot of context. If you did this, then it's very easy, very easy to stay in a trade, because you can watch the evolution, and now you know if we keep pushing, the 1 hour flips. Let me go back to the 4 hour. Because on the 1 hour, 4 hour, this is really, I mean, any time frame, this is really what you want to see. I mean, those divergences are beautiful compared to this. So this is the type of setup we want to go back into. But because of the situation here, it would be really, really nice if we spend a little bit more time maneuvering with tender bands, not breaking out right away. I mean, because I'm looking at this, and even the 5 minute now is, but it's not a very active market right now, so I tend to be more patient when volume is not there, because it takes volume to break things. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at this, and because now, I mean, once again, we even failed to touch the bottom 5. It's moving up. We might cycle back again, so it's almost tempting here to take a shot. So I'll watch a little bit more, but what I would do, I would have to buy right here, right now. So actually, let me do that. Okay, so let's put that back on. So I did buy, and I've put my stop below here. And what's going to happen, and how the way I'm going to handle this is, if the breakout does not happen, the way I minimize my losses by a lot is, remember, you have a scenario, and when you buy, you expect prices to move in your direction sooner rather than later. And if we're cycling up, we have to cycle. So if we don't cycle, and let's say I'm already slightly in the money right now, because I'm buying based on the fact that we flipped again. The hourly, the 4 hour are already up. We flip also again. I did not buy this here, so, but just because I didn't buy it there, I'm gonna play the cycle up. Okay, and so that's the strategy. That's the setup that I'm playing. So it has to happen. Even if my stop is here, that's just in case. Okay, it's just to give me breathing room and space and time to adjust my trade, to think, not being too tight. Because if I put my stop here, my position is bigger and my risk of getting stopped out is higher. So that's a bad way of, that's a good way of worsening your risk reward ratio. Okay, so to finish this, if I do not get that cycle up, then I will get out of the position no later than below the 5 minute. Even if I could have put my, even if I could have put my, I'm not going to play dumb like this, because The shorter, the tighter your stops are, the more you're caught in the randomness of the market that is absolutely unpredictable. But then you have to accept and realize that the market, if this here goes back there, this trade is completely destroyed, okay? That long idea. So that's the real level of where everything changes again. Anywhere between this and this is completely random. The purpose of a stop is to keep you out of randomness so that you don't get taken out for no reason. So the ability to develop trading ideas in different situations, different position, is dependent on how the market behaves and where you place your stops. As long as you have a rational that is logic, you can get away with something. I'm too tight still in profit to put a stop at break even, but at this stage we made a higher high, so again, I'm raising my stop right here, right here. Sorry, below the. I won't even take a chance. So now I've reduced my risk by 3/4. So this is how you can. It's not bending the rule. It's you can't always be in front of the screen when the perfect setup happens. But what if we take off again from here? Then you start chasing. So I've missed the bottom twice. Doesn't does it mean that I'm not going to participate, especially if there's a chance that we go back? Every, Everything was a successful test so far. That's the weekly. Okay. Oof. Daily. Trend is still 1%. The dots are close, but we're moving back up. The price is zero. So that's the next part of this thing is going to disappear. Although it's daily bars. It's going to take a whole day. Um, okay, back to 4 hours. We're at 15 now. So just a little bit more, we lose the dot, and a little bit more, we're getting close to the flip line. And the 4 hour is engaged now. This is why I made the decision that I just did from here. I could have been more alert and taking the flip from here. I would have had a much better entry. But still in that pocket here, before the breakout, before the see, that's what I wanted. I wanted to be before the cycle. Because now, even if people that don't trade with bands, they look at it's a higher high. So now there's a new bunch of buyers coming in, pushing price further. Why? Because we're moving up. We're making higher highs and higher lows on the short-term time frame.